Hello, good morning. I'm very glad to be welcoming my European colleague for this informal trade council. The purpose is very clear. It is to prepare the Hello, good morning. I'm very glad to be welcoming my European colleague for this informal trade council. The purpose is very clear. It is to prepare the international conference, ministerial conference of the WTO, the 30th, which will take place in Abu Dhabi in exactly 5 weeks. As a European member state, we have to coordinate our position, and as a presidency, it is also our responsibility. We had already a very good meeting yesterday evening at Beaux-Arts. It was the occasion to have the state of play of the advancement of the preparation of this WTO 30th Ministerial Conference, and to convey also a couple of European Union messages. Our priority is quite clear. It is the reform of the WTO, the necessity to have a fully fledged functioning dispute settlement body. Regarding the state of play, I mean the international situation, the geopolitical situation, we really need a very strong WTO with strong international rules. Effectivement, donc le contexte géopolitique est difficile, le commerce international est vraiment sous pression, et donc nous allons voir comment ensemble nous pouvons progresser pour renforcer notre résilience, notre coopération, diversifier nos chaînes de production, nos partenariats pour franchir ces étapes de réforme, mais aussi d'adresser les différents challenges qui sont les nôtres, que ce soit la transition écologique ou la transition numérique. Donc on va avoir de nombreux échanges, parler de l'agriculture, des subsides industriels, du mécanisme de règlement des différends. On va parler aussi des éventuelles conséquences que la situation en mer Rouge a sur le commerce international. Donc beaucoup de thématiques. Je me réjouis d'échanger avec mes collègues et je ne manquerai pas de revenir avec le commissaire Valdis Dombrovskis pour vous donner un petit peu le résultat de ce premier échange. Je vous remercie.
Madame la ministre.
Well, good morning. From the Estonian position, I think we'll tackle a very acute issue, which is the preparation for the ministerial. And of course, we'll discuss the longer term issue also of the open strategic autonomy. But I think what will be most important, at least for us, but I hope for everybody, will be to see how we will be able to support Ukraine also in the context of the ministerial conference. So we'll stress that very much today as well. That's all I wanted to tell you.
Okay, can you be more specific on how to support Ukraine?
We had a very good support event for Ukraine at the previous ministerial. So we are certainly looking for a rerun of something similar, though of course we realize that the situation has changed. And of course we need to look at what can be done with Ukraine also now, because all the issues of prolonging the autonomous measures are on the table, of the application of the DCFTA as soon as possible, what we would want. And then we have decided to start accession negotiations. So that's the place where to solve the still remaining open issues.
And on the prolonging of the autonomous measures for Ukraine, some countries are asking for some kind of bonus on the most sensitive products. Do you think it's a good idea?
No. Estonia was the first country to propose these measures already in March 22, when this seemed to be a bizarre idea. And we have never asked for that. We have to realize this is not an easy process, but if we really want to help a country at war, this is what we need to do.
We're expecting the Commission this week to come up with some sort of proposal. Do you have a kind of sense of what that might be?
A certain sense, but we haven't seen the proposal itself. Yeah.
Suggest what say you have a certain sense?
Yes, we have a certain sense, but let's see when it's on paper, because it will, of course, attempt to take into account the views of the countries that claim that they have been more influenced by the agricultural products coming from Ukraine during this last year and a half. But we also believe what the Commission says, that the common market on the whole hasn't been substantially influenced. So this is something we need to go from. Sorry. Yeah.
For political. On the FBI screening, are you Estonia in favor of own initiative procedures in this field? That you would be able to screen, for instance, investment in other EU countries, or like the Commission do this?
I think when we're talking about the investment screening, the mechanism in place means that every country screens its own incoming investments, but informs other countries. And Estonia started doing this from September last year. So our experience so far is a bit too short to be specific on the proposals for the review. But we see it has added value because the issue we are dealing with here is basically a security issue, so we need to pay attention to that.
And do you believe that all the member states have such a system in place?
I think that's the understanding, that sooner or later, and rather sooner, all the member states will have that system in place. And a good majority now has. I think we were about the 19th, if I'm not wrong with the number, and now I think there is over 20, 22, 23, something like that. So we are pretty close to that target, and it can only function if the whole system functions. You know, if you have one or two countries not participating, this will create problems for everybody.
You will also be discussing the situation in the Red Sea today.
Yes.
Are you worried about the impacts on trade flows to Europe? And what do you think should be the next steps, also regarding the Joint European Mission?
Yes, of course we are worried, but as much as I understand, so far there haven't been very serious trade effects from that. And I think the countries dealing with the issue there on location militarily will try to ensure the freedom of navigation, which will then hopefully solve these issues. But we are aware of the fact that some of the trade routes have been prolonged because of this. Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Zal ik een vraag stellen? Ja. Ook voor Politico. Ik was heel benieuwd. Is Nederland voorstander van wat de commissie gaat voorstellen om een eigen initiatief onderzoek te doen in foreign direct investment screen?
Ja, in het Nederlands deze? Ja. Ah, oké. Ja, zeker. We zijn er zeer geïnteresseerd erin. Het front economische veiligheid is een groot kernpunt van ons beleid. Dus we vinden het heel interessant wat de commissie hier gaat voorstellen. We moeten nog bestuderen, maar het ziet er interessant uit.
En dat de commissie daar dan een initiatief kan nemen, dat steunt u ook?
Ja, we moeten het voorstel nog precies zien, maar in de algemeenheid, dit punt is zo belangrijk dat we graag samenwerken met de commissie.
En waarom is het specifiek belangrijk? Gaat het om onderlinge samenwerking of om een gat wat gedicht moet worden?
Ja, het gaat erom dat iedereen ziet economische veiligheid cruciaal is en wat er van buiten komt en wat ons bedreigt. En iedereen ziet op die informatie, dus samenwerken daarin is zo belangrijk. Ja. Misschien nog over de Houthis, dat is voor ons een heel belangrijk punt, samen met België. In English or Dutch? English, yeah. Maybe on shipping and Houthis. For the Netherlands being a 6th maritime nation and our host country Belgium 8th maritime nation, it's crucial that we stop the Houthis. And we see the impact on shipping, we see the impact soon to be on inflation. So the Netherlands together with UK and the US is joining that mission, but we're also looking at the EU mission because every mission to stop the Houthis is important because we can't allow this to continue.
And on Ukraine, the Commission is planning to propose the extension of the tariff-free regime. But some countries are proposing to introduce the tariff-rate quotas for the most sensitive products. Are you in favor?
No, we are in favor in general. Not sure specifically what you mean, but we're in favor of the most open and easy way for Ukraine to trade with us.
Just back to the Red Sea.
Yes.
So obviously, we need to stop the Houthis. Clearly, the US and British strikes so far have not stopped them. How do you think they can be stopped? And is Europe in particular already feeling the impact of the ships choosing different routes?
Yeah, on the first one, first of all, it's a clear signal. That's also what we told in our joint statement to the Houthis. It has to stop. If it doesn't stop, we have to continue. And we will continue as long as it takes. But it's not going to be easy if they continue. On the cost for shipping, yeah, we see a tremendous increase in shipment costs. From Shanghai to Rotterdam, we've seen sometimes 200% increase in costs. And that obviously will feed into inflation. That's something we don't need this time. Coming out of inflation, that's the last thing we need. Okay, thank you.
There's also...
On the WTO, do you expect any sort of progress on the reform of the dispute settlement system?
Well, we're working towards that, and we all want this, but I can't promise you. Okay.
And there's your compatriot in the European Parliament, Tom Berenson of the CDA, he proposed a European port strategy, which also is about investments from abroad. Would you be in favor of, let's say, lifting this into the European security strategy?
Honestly speaking, I would have to study that. I'm not aware of that. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So we're very pleased to be here in Brussels today. It's an informal meeting of trade ministers, and the main focus is preparing for the WTO Ministerial Conference in Abu Dhabi next month. This is a really important ministerial conference for the WTO, and we need to make progress to show that multilateralism still works. We need to push back against protectionism and some of the frictions globally that have interrupted trade and supply chains. And we need to endorse and support the WTO as the primary mechanism to facilitate international trade. Coming from a small, open, globalized economy in Ireland, we have a trade value now of nearly €1 trillion a year. And of course that is sustained by ensuring that we have global rules for trade. And so the WTO needs our support and will get it. And I hope that other countries too will invest in and ensure that progress is made on key files like dispute resolution, like fisheries in terms of ensuring that it's fair and sustainable into the future, like ensuring that we don't have unnecessary restrictions on e-commerce and digital trade through tariffs into the future, and of course ensuring that WTO is the platform for discussion for many of the key challenges that we now face in terms of global trade, from security to sustainability to climate to competitiveness. All of these things are important discussions today as we lead into the WTO Ministerial Conference and of course as we finalise an EU position in advance of that. Thank you. Well, we're going to have an update from the Commission at lunchtime today on the state of play in Mercosur. I understand that we are now closer to agreement than we have been at any point in the past, but you know, we have been here before, and so we'll have to wait and see what ministers have to say. You know, I think that there was an expectation, perhaps, that the change of presidency in Argentina would mean that Mercosur was not possible in the lifetime of this Commission, but that doesn't necessarily seem to be so now. So there undoubtedly is an opportunity to get agreement here, and we'll get an update from the Trade Commissioner at lunchtime in terms of how he sees the current position. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Just can I just ask one?
Of course you can, yeah.
You'll also be discussing the situation in the Red Sea.
Yeah.
What you think, you know, need to be the next steps to stop the attack from the Houthis, given current attempts have been unsuccessful so far? And yeah, what impacts do you already see or fear for trade flows?
Well, I mean, the Red Sea is a crucial channel for international trade. If that channel for trade is cut off because of security reasons, that does have significant impact in terms of global supply chains. As trade ministers, I think we have to discuss that. I know that foreign ministers yesterday would have discussed it also, and there was an endorsement for the EU to be proactive in terms of trying to secure safe passage through the Red Sea. And of course, last night we've seen the US and the UK involved in further military strikes. So, you know, I think, of course, we need to be cautious as a European Union in terms of provoking and making a difficult situation worse. But at the same time, we've also got to secure international trade, which the European Union is very reliant on through a key location in the world for that trade through the Red Sea. So it's something that I think we need to monitor closely, and it's something that the European Union, I think, needs to be central to trying to resolve.
How do you strike that balance? I mean, as you say, the US and British also carried out strikes against the Houthis. Maybe it just provokes more action than doing nothing. Doesn't seem to be the right approach either.
Yeah, like I think doing nothing isn't an option. You know, I mean, I need to be careful with what I say here. Ireland is not a member of NATO. We're not involved in military strikes in the Red Sea. But certainly, you know, it is understandable if US registered ships have been targeted, as they have, that the US responds to protect those assets, and of course that the Western world, if you want to call it that, the US and Europe and others, need to protect key channels for international trade, and the Red Sea is one of those. But obviously, there are sensitivities here politically. The Middle East, as it is already, is a very unstable place right now, and we need to be careful that the response is one that is focused on protecting trade primarily, rather than escalating any further conflict.
And on Ukraine, the Commission is planning to extend the tariff-free regime for Ukraine because of the war, but some countries are proposing to introduce some tariff-free quotas for the most sensitive agricultural goods. Are you in favor of this proposal?
No, so I mean, my approach and Ireland's approach on Ukraine is for Europe to be as generous as we possibly can be. This is a country that is under attack from Russia, has suffered extraordinary human suffering and loss, and continues to, as civilian areas are targeted and bombed. So the European Union needs to be as supportive as we possibly can be, both economically as well as financially and militarily, of Ukraine while this war persists, and that will remain the Irish position.
Thank you, Minister.
Okay, thank you.
Buenos días. Hoy vamos a tratar en este caso informal tres temas que en realidad se pueden resumir en uno, que es garantizar entre todos la mayor seguridad para el comercio internacional, también para el comercio de la Unión Europea. En primer lugar, porque vamos a tratar sobre este mes que queda para la Conferencia Ministerial 13 de la Organización Mundial del Comercio en Abu Dhabi, donde las prioridades de la Unión Europea son, fundamentalmente trabajar para esa reforma que tanto necesita la OMC en su función deliberativa, pero también del órgano de solución de diferencias. Una nueva fase que irá más allá en el acuerdo sobre las ayudas a la pesca para evitar sobrecapacidad y sobrepesca, y también el comercio electrónico, así como hacer algunos progresos en materia de agricultura. Con esto daremos más fuerza, más fortaleza a lo que es el sistema multilateral basado en reglas transparentes y justas de comercio, y por tanto aportamos también mayor seguridad. El segundo punto será tratar la seguridad económica, o lo que era la estrategia de autonomía, la estrategia de autonomía abierta, ¿no? Y lo que es hoy la seguridad económica son aquellas medidas que la Unión Europea tiene que tomar para poder reducir sus dependencias, pero dentro de una visión de apertura económica, y por tanto donde la diversificación precisamente del comercio a través de la negociación de acuerdos comerciales es una parte muy importante. Y por último trataremos también sobre la situación en el Mar Rojo y cómo esto afecta o puede impactar al comercio internacional y también a nuestras exportaciones e importaciones, para tratar de coordinarnos y buscar soluciones.
Sobre seguridad económica, ¿se espera que la Comisión presente mañana el paquete integral sobre este asunto?
Bueno, efectivamente, sí. Esperamos ya esta semana que se presenten algunas propuestas, de las cuales hemos venido hablando en realidad a lo largo de los meses, ¿no? Algunas muy importantes, que son la revisión, por ejemplo, del reglamento de screening de inversiones, donde esperamos que aquellos países que todavía no han puesto en marcha un screening de este tipo lo hagan, y que también los flujos de información entre Estados miembros sean mejores, ¿no? También probablemente se hablará del mecanismo de outbound investment y ese assessment que pedimos a la Comisión en cuanto a esos puntos más críticos donde cabe reforzar precisamente el control. Pero esperamos ver esas propuestas efectivamente esta semana.
¿Esperan que se refuerce el control de las inversiones europeas hacia el exterior?
Bueno, ahí lo que solicitamos entre todos los Estados miembros es que, sobre todo, el mapeo inicial, la identificación de esos puntos de vulnerabilidad fueran teniendo muy en cuenta también las capacidades, industriales y la situación del sector privado, y que fuera un análisis meticuloso para que, cuando podamos ponernos de acuerdo en cuanto a las propuestas, sean lo más ajustadas, lo más proporcionales y lo mejor fundamentadas posibles. Así que lo que esperamos es más que nada un assessment profundo y cierto análisis respecto a las transferencias forzadas de tecnología y a cómo podemos obtener más información de esas inversiones que salen, ¿no?, de la Unión Europea.
Sobre el acuerdo de libre comercio con el Mercosur, ¿cómo ve España ese acuerdo? Ya puede que se cierre justo antes del final de que cambie y venga la nueva comisión. ¿Cómo lo ve España? ¿Cree que se puede cerrar en estos próximos meses?
Bueno, ojalá hubiéramos tenido la ocasión de hacerlo antes, porque lo cierto es que la ventana de oportunidad va siendo cada vez menor, pero los contactos siguen siendo muy fluidos, siguen siendo constantes, especialmente ya en esta segunda mitad de enero, y por tanto sí pensamos, además, ahora mismo con una nueva perspectiva también desde Mercosur, que las posturas se puedan alinear para al menos cerrar el texto del documento adicional que tiene que ser la clave para poder proceder ya con la ratificación de un acuerdo que se cerró hace mucho tiempo ya. Vemos que hay una buena actitud en general del lado de Mercosur, también la hay, por supuesto, del lado de la Unión Europea, ¿no? En realidad, los puntos que siguen sobre la mesa son cuestiones importantes que hay que abordar, desde luego, como es la aplicación de un lado del reglamento de deforestación y también la consideración del Acuerdo de París y algunas otras cuestiones que tienen que ver con cierto policy space. Pero entonces todas esas cuestiones siguen abiertas y se están tratando, pero yo creo que la actitud es muy constructiva.
También no sé si vais a abordar el tema de Ucrania, el tema de extender del tarifario por el tema de la guerra. No sé si lo vais a tratar y cómo lo ve España.
No creo que se vaya a tratar, desde luego no está en el orden del día y no creo porque realmente hasta junio todavía tenemos la prórroga, ¿no?, de las medidas actuales. Sin duda en los próximos meses hablaremos de ello porque es voluntad de todos, yo creo, permitir que Ucrania pueda también económicamente y a través del comercio hacer frente a esta situación tan complicada, pero como digo, tenemos hasta junio para tratar esta cuestión. Gracias.
Should I stop? Do I have to say something spontaneous?
Yes, please.
About trade, I guess, right? Great. So, although we do not have one of the biggest economies of the world, but we have one of the most open ones, as the share of, or the proportion of GDP exports towards our national GDP is somewhere around 80–85%. So it's absolutely our interest that the global free trade is operational. We see tremendous challenges nowadays, security-related and political challenges as well. We do believe that the freedom of navigation should be secured all around the world. And we do believe that politics and ideologies should not be confused with trade and economic cooperation. So the ideas of decoupling, de-risking, isolating Eastern and Western economies are something that we definitely do not support. We do believe that there's still a hopeful possibility to come back to a rational and mutually respectful East-to-West economic cooperation, and Hungary tries to be a meeting point for the Eastern and Western investments. As you see, the flourishing German and Chinese investments in Hungary, that shows to us that the rationality proves that the East-to-West cooperation is the basis for a better economic prospect for the global community for the future. That's what we're going to represent here and on the WTO's ministerial conference as well. Thank you. Yes.
Would you be in favor of FDI screening on initiative procedures from other member states in the Commission?
Look, I do see it as a political procedure which should not be confused with economy. So we see many hostile statements towards the Chinese investments, although these are not well-based. And so I have the feeling that sometimes that is used as an instrument by those member states who are not competitive enough when it comes to competition for investments.
And on Ukraine,
yes.
The Commission is planning to extend the autonomous trade measures for Ukraine. But some countries, like Poland, for example, is proposing some sort of a TRQ system to block or to limit the imports of most sensitive agricultural goods. Are you in favor of this?
Well, we have an even stronger position there. We have banned the import of Ukrainian grain and some agricultural products to Hungary. We would like to maintain that measure. We would like to protect our market. We would like to come back to the original agreement, which was about to secure transit for Ukrainian grain. But contrary to the original agreement, the Ukrainian grain has overspread the Central European markets, which have ruined the agricultural markets in the Central European countries. This is totally against what the original agreement was about. So we will continue to apply the import ban on the Ukrainian grain and other agricultural products to protect our farmers.
It's a ban even if it's for transit, yeah?
No. For transit, we always allow the free transit, no problem. That was the original agreement. We have even made huge investments into making it possible that the Ukrainian grain can cross Hungary towards those harbors from which the grain is going to be delivered to where it is really needed. So transit is fine, import no.
And Ukraine introduced a system for licensing of exports to Europe. And some countries agreed to participate in the system. What about Hungary?
We respect the decision of other countries, but our decision is very clear. We would like to protect our market, and how we can protect it is banning the import. That's what we are going to sticking to. Thank you so much for having me. Bye-bye.
So, good morning, everyone. Looking forward for today's Trade Council meeting. In terms of agenda, I would highlight our discussions on the preparation of 13th Ministerial Conference of the World Trade Organization. We are basically a month away from MC13, so it's a timely occasion to discuss EU priorities for this ministerial. From the EU side, we are committed to work towards successful ministerial and safeguarding the role of WTO in the multilateral rules-based trading system. In terms of priorities, I would highlight the questions on WTO reform and having a reformed, functioning dispute settlement system, reaching the agreement on stage 2 of harmful fisheries subsidies agreement, making progress on agriculture, extending e-commerce moratorium, also starting deliberations on the topics of trade and climate, or more broadly trade and environment, and trade and industrial policy. And another point I would highlight from today's agenda is the point on open strategic autonomy, and more specifically we'll be discussing also questions related to economic security and EU's competitiveness and the role trade policy can play in this. So it's a timely discussion. I look forward for this, especially in a context of tomorrow's package of the proposal, which the Commission will propose in a framework of EU economic security strategy. Thank you.
Commissioner, we understand that you will also be giving an update on Mercosur negotiations. Are we close to an agreement there?
Well, as regards the state of play of free trade negotiations, we are not expecting now a detailed update this time, as we had actually extensive discussions on these topics in the last ministerial. But clearly we are continuing our negotiations with a number of partners, including with Mercosur, and are committed to make progress on them.
On the WTO reform, can you tell us more about yesterday's dinner with the Director General? What could be the potential results at the MC13, according to her and to you?
Yeah, well, I cannot now prejudge the outcomes of ministerial conference because, as you know, conference is yet a month away, and there are intensive preparations, and the EU is not the only player at the WTO. It's an international organization, so we need all players on board. What can I say from the EU side? That we are committed to have results on WTO reform. We were insisting in a previous ministerial to have this on agenda and to make progress. So I hope that we can move as far as possible to have a functioning and efficient international multilateral trading system and functioning dispute settlement system, because that's important for upholding the rules.
And on Ukraine, the Commission is working on the plan to extend the autonomous trade measures, but we hear from some countries like Poland that they want to introduce some sort of target quota system for the most sensitive agricultural products, and we've just heard the Minister of Hungary saying that Hungary will continue the ban on agricultural imports even though the ATM system is extended. What's your position?
Indeed, we are currently working on extension of autonomous trade measures for Ukraine for another year till June 2025, and soon the Commission will table the proposal in this regard. And while doing so, we need to take into account sensitivities of agricultural sectors, especially in the neighboring countries, which are most affected. So we are looking at the best ways to do it, including on a possibility of having safeguards, not only in the case of disturbances of the EU market as a whole, but also in case of disturbances of in a single member states or few member states, because we know that the regional impact of Ukrainian agricultural food exports is very uneven across the EU, primarily affecting neighboring countries, and also looking on how to safeguard the most sensitive products. Actually, just yesterday I had a meeting with Polish Minister of Agriculture, and this morning with Hungary Minister of Agriculture to discuss exactly these topics on the last one.
To discuss the situation in the Red Sea. How serious is it from a trade point of view? Serious from a military point of view? And what should or can Europe do?
Well, indeed, as you know, the Red Sea and Suez Canal is one of the main shipping corridors in the world. So, correspondingly, clearly, there is effects coming from disruptions to freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. So, we are monitoring this situation very closely. We are not seeing kind of immediate effects right now on the commodity prices coming from these disruptions, but certainly it's a risk factor. And as you know, the EU is currently working actually also on naval mission to complement the international efforts already ongoing at the Red Sea to ensure freedom of navigation. Thank you.
Welcome to the Egmont Palace, please.
Merci beaucoup de venir. Avec excellent. Merci. Merci. Bon courage pour aujourd'hui.
Merci, à tout à l'heure. Welcome to Brussels and to the Egmont Palace.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me in hospitality. It was fine.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, please. It's a nice honor. Thank you. À très vite. welcome to the Egmont Palace, Yuri. Welcome you in the Egmont Palace.
Thank you.
Simon.
Hello.
Very warm welcome to the Egmont Palace. I'm fine. Nice to see you too.
Thank you for last night.
See you later. Welcome to the Egmont Palace. Nice to meet you. Yeah. It was my pleasure. Thank you very much. See you later. See you later. Welcome, Elena. Good morning again. Welcome to the Egmont Palace.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Fine.
And you? Did you enjoy the evening?
Yeah.
See you later.
Thank you.
Should I stop?
Welcome to the Egmont Palace, Nikolai. Good morning.
So pleased to be here.
It's a pleasure. Very warm welcome.
Thank you very much. Very successful.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for the questions.
Yeah.
Thank you, Betsy.
Ambassador, welcome to the Egmont Palace, Joao. Merci beaucoup. It's my pleasure. See you.
Okay, thank you.
very well. Welcome to the Egmont Palace, Diana. I'm happy that you appreciate it. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Egmont Palace again.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for having us. Thank you for the lovely hospitality here today.
Hope you really enjoy and you have a very strong.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, Minister.
Good morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful
Very
evening.
warm welcome.
Beautiful music.
It's my
also.
pleasure.
Okay, see you.
Welcome to the Egmont Palace. Please, David.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thank you. I will control the meeting.
Genre, tu voulais pas me saluer, genre. pleasure. Thank you. Continue. Welcome to the Egmont Palace. How are you? Since yesterday. Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Egmont Palace Udo. Ça va bien et toi? C'est beau, hein? Merci encore pour l'hier.
Oui, bien sûr. À tout à l'heure.
Welcome, Jacek, to the Egmont Palace, please. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. How do we pronounce your name? Thomas? Thomas, please.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for hosting us.
It's my pleasure. Great to see you too.
Thank you for hosting us. Such wonderful circumstances. Really appreciate that.
See you.
The others arrived already?
Yes.
Okay, great. I try to be on time. Thanks.
Voilà, maintenant je vais correctement. Merci. Merci beaucoup.
Morning. Thank you, Minister. Good morning.
Good
Thank you very much.
Well, welcome. Oui, oui, bien sûr, pas de raison.
Bonjour madame.
Bienvenue.
Merci beaucoup.
Palais d'Egmont.
Je suis notaire service juridique du Conseil en charge des questions politiques étrangères.
On compte bien sur votre participation et votre aide. Merci.
Merci madame.
Palace Valdis, how are you since yesterday? So we are ready to go.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Let's go sit down.